standing, and just some nice big shoulder rolls. Just try and start to introduce a little bit of movement to the body and get you limbered up a little bit. Take 3 more of those, up, round and back, up, round and back, up, round and back. Good. And then head side to side, ear down to the shoulder on one side, come back up through centre, ear down to the shoulder on the other side, back up through centre. Keep going like that. Push as far as you can each way. And after this one, we're coming back up to centre again and relax. Our next movement, we're going to work a little bit on isolation. So isolation basically means just moving one part of the body whilst we keep another part still. It's not easy to master if you're not used to it, but I want you to think about moving the rib cage and the pelvis as 2 separate bits. So I'm going to place one hand up around my ribs, the other hand is down, just sitting on my pelvis. You don't have to position your hands this way, but I find it helps just to illustrate what I want you to do. And think of your ribs sliding over in one direction, and your pelvis is going to slide over in the other direction, and then you swap. So you slide the ribs one way, pelvis the other way. And just keep working from side to side. Chances are you're going to have one side that feels a lot freer, a lot more loose than the other. You try and even that out, and you'll feel little bits of you stretching that you perhaps didn't realise needed to stretch. If you prefer to work just hands on your hips, you can go that way, working side to side, side to side. Great, we'll just keep going for a little bit longer. And if you feel you need to spend more time working on one particular stretch, then you can just pause the video and you can spend a bit more time on one area if you think it's necessary. We'll just go one more each way. Excellent, well done, and relax. So we've thought about that as a lateral movement, a side-to-side movement. Now think about the ribs moving forward as the pelvis shifts back, and vice versa. I'll come side on. So we're here, we're going to move the ribs forward and let the pelvis go back. And then you come back through. So it's not a huge range of movement. Just going to project the body forwards and then come backwards. Forwards and backwards. And we're trying to keep the legs still. You come forwards and back. And you may prefer to have the hands down by your side. I feel a bit more comfortable with them on my hips. Forwards and back. Forwards and back. Then we're going to add those 2 movements together. So you travel forwards to the side, move to the back and to the other side. Forwards, side, back, side. Good. Keep going. And pay attention to which direction you're currently travelling. So is that clockwise or anti-clockwise? It doesn't matter which way, but just so that you're aware, because I'm now going to ask you to travel the other way. That's it, good. Forwards, side, back, side. And then try and make it a bit more of a fluid movement. And this ability to move the pelvis and the ribs as 2 separate entities is quite important for a lot of sports and a lot of everyday functions. We just don't tend to think about it too much. Okay, good. And then we're going to come and just settle in the middle. Thinking about some more movement through the spine now. I'm coming side on so you can see me. I'm going to get you to bend your knees, and we're going to place your hands down onto your thighs, and then it's a cat stretch. So you curve your back, and then release out the other way, lifting the eye line. Curve the back, and release. Good. Curve, get that big stretch, tuck the head and bottom under, and release out the other way. We're going to do 4 more. 3. Last 2. And last one. Good. And then roll yourself up into standing. Thinking about some hamstring stretch now. So the hamstrings are the muscles which go up the back of the leg here. We're going to do a stretch which works both sides. And we start side on, feet about hip width apart, keeping the bottom tucked underneath. We're going to take the weight just onto one side, and if you feel you need a chair or a windowsill, anything like that to balance on, then this is where you need to grab a hold. But we're going to come up on one side. You then extend that leg. So this is where we're getting the stretch at the back of the leg. Then we come through, keep the chest lifted, and you're tipping your weight forward, and you should feel the stretch in this support leg. And then we come back through. So it's up, out, feeling my stretch here, come through, and feel that stretch at the back of the leg. Working on balance too. Let's keep going. So up, out, swing through, get that stretch in the back leg, come in, up, out, take it through, good, tuck in, up, out, take it through, in, up, out, and take it through. Couple more, up, out, through, last one, up, out, and through. Good. Well done. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. I'm going to turn around just so it's a bit clearer for the camera. You don't have to, but just whatever you feel good with. If you need something to hold on to, you've got that there. We're going to come up, out, take the leg through, and then back in. First couple might feel a bit wobbly because you're getting used to the new side. So we're going to come up, out, and through. And again, up, out, through. Lovely. Up, out. Get that stretch here. Now we're feeling the stretch in the support leg. There. Good. Up, out, come through. Good, we're going to do two more. Up, out, swing through. Last one. Up, out, swing through. Good, and back in. Carrying on with trying to stretch our hamstrings now. We're going to take the knees so that they're about mat width apart, and then we're going to come forwards, letting the torso rest down towards the thighs, and then holding onto the ankles, or you can have your hands onto the floor if you're able to manage that. We're trying to extend the tailbone up to the ceiling, and then we're just going to push one leg back, release, other side, release. So hang into that stretch. Push, release, push, release. Try to relax into the movement. And we're going to work on four more. Push, release, push, release. One more each side. Push, release, push, release. Good. Let the hands relax. And then roll yourself up, through, to that nice tall standing position. Well done. We're now going to bring you into a flat back position. So again, I'm turning sideways so you can see what I'm up to. Bend my knees, and then resting my hands onto my thighs. This position of my spine right now is quite a curved position. That way, I'm allowing my back to hollow. I want to try and elongate that line in my spine, so we're creating more of a straight line from the crown of my head down and out through the tailbone. So if you imagine that I'm placing my hand between your shoulder blades, just gently pushing you forwards and encouraging you to lengthen from the crown of the head out through the tailbone. If you're able to, we can just pop those knees back and hold that really, really strong, lengthened position. Hold it there for 3 breaths. And each time you exhale, length through the spine. Well done, and then we're going to unfold and back up to standing again. We're going to try and use that straight back position now. And we're going to come to a table and tiptoe on the foot there. Leaning forward slightly, so we're getting that elongated line. And then we're going to allow that leg to come up and then just take it back. Try not to touch down in between. We're going to come up and take the leg back. So more work on balance. Lengthening through the spine. Up and out. Up and out. We're going to do 3 more. Shoulders down. Last one. Brilliant, well done. And then up into standing. Same on the other side. So we come to a tiptoe position on the working leg. Up to a tabletop. Tip forward from the waist. And then we go back and through. Trying to keep that support leg straight. Back and through. Lengthen the spine. Back and through. Good, we're going to go 2 more. Squeeze the shoulder blades and then back into a standing position. Okay, we're going to take you into a downward dog position. So if you start sideways on, feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart, and we're going to go into a roll down. So I want you to nod the head forwards, curve around the back, and let the head and arms go floppy. If you need to bend your knees to touch your hands to the floor, then you do that. And then we're going to walk the hands out so that we're taking a triangle position. So I'm trying to let my knees straighten, pushing the heels to the floor, and then lifting the tailbone up to the sky. Making that triangle position there. Drop the head down. And then paddle the legs through. So we're lifting one heel, lowering the other. Work through. Keep breathing. Gently pull the shoulder blades together. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold there. And then you can bend your knees and coming down to a 4-point position. We're going to go into cat stretch now. So pretty straightforward. We're going to get you to curve around your back and then release out the other way. We did a little bit of this in standing. Curve and release. Curve and release. Good. Now play around with the movement a little bit. If you want to bump the hips from side to side, you can sway the hips as you curve. You can make a circle movement from it. Bring the head, anything that just feels right for you. Let me come this way so you can see what I'm up to. So you can curve, have a little shift, shift, release, circle it round if you wish. That's it. So spend some time playing around with that movement and any little kind of sticky bits in the spine that you need to work out, you go with that one. Just a couple more. Good, and then sink down, bottom to heels, reaching those fingertips away. And then roll up. So we're going to work a little bit more now on loosening out through the hips. If you've got any major restrictions in your hips and knees and this causes pain in any way, then I want you just to miss this section out. Otherwise, it's a really good way to get a lot of mobility through the hips and the knees. We're starting off in a 4-point position. If you're using an exercise mat, it can be quite handy to use the width of the mat as your guide to how far apart I want your knees to be. If you haven't got an exercise mat, then just kind of imagine what that would be like. Your knee and your foot need to be in line. So rather than the feet coming close together, we want the knee and the foot to be in line. Your hands are going to go a little bit further forward than we would typically take them in a 4-point position. And then we're going to move forward, taking the shoulders over the wrists. Try not to dip the back. We're going to keep a nice straight line through the spine. And then we come back, keep the feet in position, leave the hands where they are, and then sink down, bottom going towards the heels. So we're getting an arm stretch as well as a back and a knee stretch and a hip stretch. We do that again. We're going to come forwards, taking the shoulders over the wrists, lengthen through the spine, tighten through the tummy, and then come back, reach through. Keep going, we travel forwards, breathe, hold, make sure the feet are staying parallel, come back, and sink through. And we'll just do one more. If you want to spend a bit more time on this, you can pause the video and do a little bit more. Finish it off in that support position. Good, bringing the knees together, and then just shuffle your weight back a little bit. We're going to do some work now to stretch the foot, the ankle, the knee, the hip, the hamstring. There's lots going on in this one. I'm going to start with my left leg behind, and my right leg is going to go out here. So it's almost like we're starting at the beginning of a sprint. So you're in that kind of sprint start position. The first thing you'll notice is that this foot, which is bent behind, the toe tucked underneath, that's quite a strong stretch. Just sitting the bottom down onto the heel there. If you can't get your bottom that far down, just work with whatever range you've got available, but we're aiming to try and get bum down onto heel, and don't be too concerned about the strong stretch that you're feeling there. This other foot, my right foot, is going to stay flat to the floor, and then my hands are going to place either side of the foot there. And then the stretch is to try and press that back heel towards the floor, keep the chest on the front thigh, on that right thigh, and then we're going to come back down, sit back onto the heel. Let's do that again. So we come up, lift the tailbone to the sky, come back through, and sitting back. Keep going, up, and push back, release, and through. Again, up, push back, release, and through. And hopefully you'll notice that each stretch you get a little bit further into the movement. We'll just try one more on this side. Up, and you come back, release, and through. Well done. Same onto the other side. So we're going to bring that leg back. Right leg behind me now, sitting onto the toe, getting a nice big strong stretch through the bottom of the foot. Left foot out in front, firmly planted. Hands either side of your feet. And then we're going to press through the hands, into that back heel, extend, and then come back through. It's very normal to have one side that feels different to the other. This is my tighter side, so you might notice I'm not traveling quite as far. We're just going to keep working into it. So we come there, and push back into the stretch. Release, and sit back. Again, up, push back, release, and through. Keep trying it. spend as much time on that one as you need to. Next one we're moving through is to take you into a squat position. Excellent stretch for ankles, knees, hips, back. Move within whatever range you've got available, though I don't want you to push into any pain on this one. I'm going to start you off in that nice wide 4-point position again. So the knees and the feet are the width of the mat apart. Rather than before when we had the feet down flat, we're going to tuck the toes underneath. I'm going to get you to sit back, bottom to heels. Walk the hands through, and you're aiming to try and bring your heels to the floor and your elbows are in between your knees. If you can get into this position quite happily, then see if you can raise the arms up overhead. That might be a stretch too far at the moment. Just concentrate on the hip, knee, ankle movement if that is too far for you. And then we're going to come back and just take a little breather. Try and make sure that the feet stay parallel and about hip width apart. So we're going to sit back, bringing those heels to the floor. Try not to let them turn in too much. Sitting down and into that stretch. Bring yourself forwards and release. We'll just keep going through there. Sit back and in. Release and forwards. Back and into that squat. Nice strong straight back. Release and forwards. Working in any available range that you've got, so don't worry if you can't quite get as deep into the movement as I'm able to here. Don't push into pain. Come through and sit back. Remember you can add that overhead arm in as well. There. And walk through. We're going to do just one more. Come back. Sit through. Up, down, and release out. Well done. Good. We're on to do some hip flexor stretches now. So this is another quite a strong stretch. You just work in whatever range you've got available. I'm going to start you with your left leg out behind, and your right leg is going out in front. This one's going to rest out behind us, this one here. If you can't get your foot flat to the floor like mine is, you may prefer just to work with the toes tucked underneath. But if you can, get that foot out flat and relaxed. Depending on how much range you've got, is going to depend how far you nudge this front foot. And then we're going to come down, drop into that stretch. So we're trying to lengthen up the front of the back leg. And then both hands are going to go inside your right foot. So both hands on the inside of the foot. Just see if you can push your right knee out of the way a little bit, so that right knee's going out towards the wall. And then we're just trying to relax into that stretch. So see if you can let go into the stretch. And you can transfer your weight from side to side. Might help to add a little twist in. We're all going to be tighter in different places. So just find whatever bits feel like they need more work for you. Just going to hold there for a couple more breaths, and then you ease out of that stretch, and then we're ready to swap over onto the other side. So we're going to come with the left leg out in front, right foot's resting back behind us, trying to keep everything parallel, and then depending on how much range you've got, adjust your front foot position, and then come forwards into that stretch. So getting the length at the front of the back leg. Both hands coming on the inside of your left foot, the inside of the front foot, and then pushing that front knee away a little, and then allow the weight to transfer from side to side. Add in a twist if you feel that's helpful. Couple more big deep breaths. Excellent, and then we're going to unfold up out of that stretch. Good. And then coming into a long sitting position. Have your feet a little bit more further forward towards the front edge of your mat. Make sure there's enough room behind you for you to lie back. We're going to take both arms outstretched, curve through that lower part of the back, and then we're rolling down onto the mat. You can use your hands for a little bit of support on your thighs if you need to. But we're going to get to roll down with control until we're back into our rest position there. Knees bent more, so we're coming into our Pilates rest. Make sure you've got your neutral spine, so we're halfway between a forwards and a backwards tilt. Hands resting down by your side, reach those fingertips towards the heels, and then onto a single leg stretch on your right leg. So slide the right leg out long. Keep that neutral position. I want you to breathe in, bring that leg up. Breathe out, you're going to flex the foot, push to the heel, and lower. Just before you touch the floor, come up again. Point, breathe in, and we're up. Flex, exhale, and you lower. Keep going. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And again. One last one. Excellent. And back into a rest position. Open at the front of the chest. Lengthen through the spine. Hold and control your neutral. Left leg, same thing. Slide out long. Inhale, come up. Flex, exhale, lower. Inhale, come up. Flex, exhale, lower. Keep going. Two more. Trying to keep the right leg still. Brilliant. Then we're going to bring that leg back in. Both knees up and in towards your chest. Give them a little jiggle from side to side. Circle around if you wish. Lovely. Then I'm going to get you to come up to a sit position once more for me. We're going to hold the backs of the knees and lean back. Try to get that elongated line through the spine. You can either have the tips of the toes resting onto the floor, or you can have the feet up off the floor. Keep the elbows up nice and high. We're going to extend one leg and come back down. Extend the other side, come back down. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, lower. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, lower. This is 5 and down. We're going to go to 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. And then release. Up into standing next. Just a couple more stretches in standing now. I'm going to get you to lace your fingertips together, push the hands towards me, and then lift both arms up overhead. Then take you into a side bend, pull up and through, over to a side bend the other way, pull up and through. We're going to reach, circle those arms round, shake the hands out,